Well, hello and welcome to my third Seattle diary. Probably a diary just for me because I can't upload at the moment. I'm still trying to upload the first diary, so maybe this will never get to you, and I'm probably just 55 now, just looking over old films and just thinking, man, I was fat. But anyway, welcome to my diary if you have seen this somehow. Today has been the second day of the conference, penultimate day. It finishes tomorrow. It's been a very long day. The 12-hour days of the conference just jam-packed with about 5 or 6 sermons, but worth every moment. It's been a great day in many ways, frustrating on a tech side. I've just been trying to upload, trying everything. I've downloaded some stuff now to help me upload some stuff. Let's see if that works. It also means that for the last couple of days I haven't been able to speak to Beck properly. That's been increasingly frustrating. I get through to different people at different times and then they're not there. So with the time difference, with my computer crashing all the time, with internet access stopping intermittently, it's been a real nightmare really. So on a personal level, I'm finding it very frustrating. But on a kind of spiritual and enjoying the conference level, it's great. Today's session started off with a guy called Jim Gilmore, who isn't a pastor, but he's a kind of business advisor, talking about the experience economy, which, as you know from yesterday's diary, which you probably haven't seen because you haven't seen today's either, but if you have somehow, then the experience economy, looking at about how the big commodity now in our culture is experience, that people pay for experiences, and how we need to be a people really, well, I don't know what that is, that's the sermon tomorrow, but he was explaining all about the experience culture today. Very interesting, looking at coffee, saying about how you can buy the coffee bean for like 5 cents, or you can buy it ground and packaged for like 10 cents, or you can buy coffee then put into a jar for like 50 pence, or you can go and sit in Starbucks and pay $2. And why do we go and pay $2 for it? Because of the experience that Starbucks offers, and it's very much true. Being a loner for the last 2 weeks, being out in America on my own, apart from when some nice ladies, some nice Koreans take me out for lunch, I'm very much alone. And if I have to go and eat or drink somewhere, I'll always go to Starbucks, because you can just sit there, you can chill, and thinking about back home. If I want to meet up with someone and have a chat, we'll go down the Borders and we'll sit in Starbucks. It's an experience, isn't it? And I found that really interesting. And as a church, we're looking at building issues at the moment, and it really made me again remember that we have to look at how does a building help in the experience. But ultimately, it's not the big issue, is it? Ultimately, the big issue is experiencing Christ and experiencing the gospel. And that's been really helpful today, remembering all about the gospel. Matt Chandler from the Village Church has preached twice. I find him really encouraging. John Piper has preached twice. I understood him today, so that was helpful and good. And he was just really motivating us to be true to the gospel, really motivating us really to love God. There's no better thing really, is there? I mean, you go to all these conferences, you get taught all techniques, get taught all structures and strategies, and they're very important, but ultimately it's all about the gospel, and the gospel is God. So that was really encouraging. Driscoll preached, and I went to his Acts 29 boot camp sermon on the church plant of the Acts, which was basically a sermon on eldership, and that really scared me, but it was good to go to, and it really gave me a sense of urgency to make sure that I'm living up to the qualifications of eldership. It was really good. I think one thing that's come out from all the speakers is that really we need to be men of integrity, that we need to be men who love our wives, who love the gospel, and who love the church, but really that we get that order right, that we love God, that we love our wives and our family, and that we love the ministry. And really, once we turn any of those around, then we're in for major trouble and difficulty. So I found that really encouraging. I actually spoke to Mark Driscoll today as I was walking to the toilet. He was walking to the toilet, so I kind of grabbed him, shook his hand, introduced myself. And what do you say to Mark Driscoll when you meet him? Well, for some reason in my mind, I knew that Chris Street from Cardiff Men's Convention had sent a letter asking him to come and speak to Cardiff. So instead of thanking him for his ministry, instead of saying something profound, I was like, straight away, will you come to Cardiff? I think you've had an invite, and he kind of fluffed me off and walked off. Unfortunately, he was going to the toilet and I was going to the toilet, so I kind of kept walking after him, not meaning to like harass him, but just to walk to the toilet because I needed a pee. And he kind of turned around and started talking to me again, obviously freaked out that this Welsh guy was following him to the toilet. So I don't think he's going to come to Cardiff now. I think I've really scared him, really, by just being a freak that followed him to the toilet. Gladly we went to different toilets. I felt a little bit better about that. But I must admit, sitting through his sermon then, I was really worried he was going to just out me as some big freak who harassed him. But there we are. I met him, and that was very interesting. I think the highlight today was the question and answers at the end of the day. An immense question and answer. John Piper was on form. Matt Chandler just had to sit back and let him go. In fact, Matt Chandler and Mark Driscoll, who were kind of sitting either end, book ending John Piper, were just laughing. John Piper was wild, but he was superb. So as soon as that Q&A goes online, just download it and watch it. It A, is hilarious, B, it's challenging, C, it is just genius theology, and it's amazing to see Piper kind of chilling out and Piper being pretty wild. But as well, one thing I've been really interested in this week is seeing Mark Driscoll outside of pulpit preaching, so talking to him, seeing him talk to other people, watching him kind of convene meetings, watching him lead a Q&A panel. The guy actually comes across very humble. I know in his preaching he comes across as brash and he kind of shouts and yells at you, but actually he seems a very humble guy, and that's been very encouraging. And yeah, that's been a big lesson to learn, really. So that's good. Another great thing today is I bought a couple of albums, very cheap. And the first one is this, which is the first kind of studio album from Mars Hill, so that's really good. And their music is pretty good. They sing all old hymns, but to new tunes and to kind of new music. It's kind of like their music's kind of cross between Coldplay and Radiohead. Well, Coldplay is just a poor man's Radiohead, but you know what I mean. So that was really good. I think today for me really has just been a real jolt to the system. Just made me think, where am I at? What am I about? Matt Chandler quoted, Psalm, talking about as the deer pants for the water, and it's only a psalm that I've preached on in the last few months in church in a series on spiritual depression. And he just asked the question, is that us? Is there, and the word he used was angst, is there angst in us for God? Is there a desire in us for God? It's funny, isn't it, with as the deer pants for the water, so my soul longs after you. We think of nice little pictures of deers in our church. We sing the song, as the deer pants for the water, and really what people mean when they sing it is, I just want to feel bubbly in my stomach. But it's not really a desire for God, when that psalm is just angst and desire and desperation and hunger for God. And the question was asked, have we got that? I found that a penetrating question. I found that massively moving. As pastors, as a new generation in Wales, and as people coming up, is that who we are? When we look at some of the older men and some of the older women in prayer meetings, you really sense a desperation and a hunger in them. And is that there in the younger generation? Have we just become too pragmatic? They say, don't they, they kind of seek a church in America that if the Holy Spirit left tomorrow, they just wouldn't notice. And has that just come into the church in Wales? That, we know how to preach, we know how to lead a service, we're in the day of the small things, so hey, what do we expect? And we're just going through the motions. When was the last time in Wales we saw someone moved to tears in the pulpit as they thought on hell? When was the last time a pastor midweek in his own office got on his knees and pleaded for his congregation and wept for his town? I put myself in that. So yeah, big day, big questions. Do we hunger and thirst for God? Are we desperate for him? So yeah, I'll leave that thought with you, and I'll leave the thought with me. And it's 11 p.m. now, so I'm going to stay up another hour, which will make it 8 a.m. and hopefully I can talk to Beck. And tomorrow I've got an extra hour in bed, which is really nice, because the conference starts a little bit later and then it finishes, so it'll be my last full day in America. So see you soon. God bless. Bye bye.